Hello everybody, my name is Ilya, and my name is also Ilya. Now, you may be wondering why am I here? Well, it's because I unfortunately deleted the file, and Tyler's in Montreal, so we cannot refilm. So you're stuck with me for the first little bit of the video, at least. But you know what? We are adaptive, we're resilient, what's the other word? Great. Yes. So today we will be doing a top 10 anticipated games of 2024 of the games that me and Tyler have played. And me. Yes, both of us and Tyler. Yes. The first 3 games, unfortunately, the commentary will be just for me and my future friend here. Me. That's right, me. But we'll try to get Tyler's perspective. Exactly, you don't have to stay for long, just for a little bit. Okay. Without further ado, let's jump right on into our top 10 games of 2024 that we've played, because we will be doing another list. And that is the top 10 that we have not played of anticipated games. Exactly. Well, the very first game we're going to talk about is Kelp. Now, Kelp is a 2-player game from Wonderbow Games, and it has won over the internet, the world. It has just done such an incredible job with its campaign, and I absolutely fell in love with the game when we first played it. Now, what's the premise? You're either the shark or the octopus. The shark is trying to eat the octopus, and the octopus is trying to evade the shark. Now, both the players play asymmetrically, meaning that they play differently. Some will use primarily dice, while the other one will use primarily cards. And you're really trying to outsmart your opponent. Exactly. And it's really a game that you really want to play the one or the other. One of the things that Tyler says is that as soon as you play this game, you always want to play the other side. And that's a really good mark of a good asymmetric game. You always think the other side potentially has an advantage, or you could do better as the other side. And when we played this game, we played it so many times. And I want to continue playing it. It's just so good. Like, I can't express how good this game is. But we hope to get back to the table soon. Yes, we'll definitely be sharing more of Kelp with you, and I can't wait to see what that studio does next, because this first game is an absolute home run. That's very true. Now, the next game on our list is another 2-player game, that is the Battle of Versailles. Yes, this is another 2-player only game. Now, in this game, you're battling either as France or the US, and you're trying to enter the scene of fashion. Now, the mechanics in this game are actually fairly crunchy and very fun. It actually gives me a little bit of reminiscence of Seven Wonders Duels in the way that there's multiple ways to win. But what's really neat is each of the sides has varying victory conditions. So really, throughout the game, you're trying to outsmart your opponent, set up the situation that is most beneficial for yourself, and also thematically try to win the game. And I think beyond the theme, there's a lot of really good theme elements in the game when they throw that in. But the mechanics are really clever. The crunchiness of it is really the decision making. It's played through cards, and you're going to take turns playing cards, and there's a lot of runway manipulation that really drives the game. Yeah, I was really in awe of this one. I didn't know how much I would like it, but as soon as we started playing it, I wanted to play it again and again and again. And it definitely could become one of my favorite 2-player games, just with how well it has been executed. But I do want to play it more. I think we've only played it a few times, and I feel in order for the 2-player games to really get to that level of, these are so good, we have to play them like 10, 20 times and really go head-to-head that many times to see what the possibility of the game is. But Tyler and I really enjoyed the Battle of Versailles. That we have. Now, the last game we'll talk about is Salton Sea. Salton Sea is so good. Now, Salton Sea is an upcoming Devere release, which we'll actually be doing a how-to-play video really shortly. You may see it within a week or so. But the premise of the game is essentially you're trying to support various factories that are using geothermal energy. And you'll do this by drilling, trying to get energy, converting that energy, and supporting the various factory projects. Now, this is a crunchy economic strategy resource manipulation game where you're trying to do the best with what you have. But there are some really cool thematic twists in the game. Exactly. For example, if you drill through too many rocks, your drill could break and you have to fix it before you get it back. Or if you process too much, your refinery can also break. So there's machinery fixing that you need to do, and it just ties in really cleverly throughout the theme of the game. It's a really fun game. The games we played have been really close, And Devere makes some of the best strategy games in this industry. I would highly recommend any of their games. But this one is definitely one to watch for, and I think we'll get some high praise for us in the coming weeks. That said, you need to leave. Tyler needs to come back. It's not as fun to do this with future me. If only you didn't delete the video, we'd all be here and we'd be fine. But thank you for subbing in, and we'll see you later. Bye! Well, now let's go into the forest in a little bit more whimsical spell nature with Nocturne.
Spell nature!
Nocturne is an upcoming game from Flat Out Games where you'll take a role of a fox mystic that will cast spells to collect the various things in the forest. Now, what's really cool about this game is it's a spatial bidding game where you'll take turns bidding on this terrain, or placing orthogonally adjacent to the last bid, and the winning bid will collect the little item or relic for your own set collection. Mm-hmm. Now, all the different items score in various different ways, and how you spatially bid can make it so you can potentially automatically win something as well.
Yeah.
So that makes it really fun. It feels like a really fresh take on those mechanics. I think both of us don't love bidding in general as a main mechanic, but this feels really different and really unique. And I'm excited to see it in its full and final version.
Yeah, very excited. Like, this game is so beautiful. I love the foxes that you're able to play as. And then, of course, like, yeah, it is very interesting to try and collect these things. But also, like, we can't forget about the separate board. Even if you don't win the bid, there's possibilities to get more cards. There's, like, a chest that allows you to draw tiles that would not necessarily have been available to you before you end up losing a point, but that's nothing compared to what you could gain. And then, of course, the hidden objectives, which I think add a lot to it, because it helps, like, decide how you want to play the game. I think that's very interesting. Of course, like, being able to, like, decide how you want to gain things in the set collection, but also in those hidden objectives can really, like, push your strategy forward and get you to that point where you are able to, like, claim victory. And then, like, we didn't even talk about, like, the goals that are intermediate and then at the end of the game also just adds another layer to it. Sounds like a lot.
Fun.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it is just bidding, bidding spatially, which adds this cool little element to it. And you want to just try and set collect to the best of your ability.
Cast the right spell and get the right thing.
Yes.
Nocturne.
Next up on our list is a game about cheese.
I love cheese.
This game is called Fromage, and it's about cheese.
I'm so hungry.
I actually don't even know how to begin to describe this game, because I think it is such an interesting and unique take on what this game is.
It's a worker placement.
It is a worker placement, but what's happening is you have a select number of cheese and workers that you're able to place. Depending on how you place them on this turntable in the center, depends on when you get your workers back. And that's, to me, just like so cool to me. But also at the same time, the game is like 4 separate mini games. You've got your own player board that you are working on getting certain things towards, but each game in the middle, the 4 games in the middle, you kind of have to, like, strategically play so that not only can you score points on your board, but you can also score effectively on the mini games that you're playing.
Yes.
I think that is such an interesting take on not only the different types of cheese that are out there, but the impacts that they have on your turn and receiving workers back. Because it is very, very tight when it does come to the gameplay, and it's also very fun because it's basically simultaneous play.
Yeah.
So it speeds the game up, but it's also on the more heavier strategic side of it, which makes for a quicker and more interesting, engaging game.
Quick 3 things for me. Number 1, Road to Infamy makes really innovative games, and it certainly feels like this one. Globetrotting, Don't Go In There, Canvas, they all feel like very unique on their own, and so does this one. 2, the designers of this game are the same designers as Search for Planet X and Search for Lost Species, and they make really, really good games, and this one is just like those games.
Yes.
And number 3, the rondel and the table presence of this game is simply outstanding. I feel like the graphic design and like the art in this game too, it's so gorgeous. The little cow meeples, little milk, little houses you build. There's a lot of different layers in this game that just make it so much fun to play. And we had to send off our version, the prototype. I can't wait to get it back so we can play it again and again and again.
Yeah, very excited about this one.
Now, the next game on our list is Ovation. So this is from Looking Glass Workshop, and it's essentially an engine building game where you take a role of a classical composer and you're just trying to score the most points.
Holy moly, this one's fun. I love being able to like basically place your worker on one of the 4 actions that you have, cascade down to take these actions, and then do more. It's so interesting. My favorite part about any engine building game, let's just like back step for a moment. My favorite part about any engine building game is that it starts off very slow paced. You can kind of like discover what you need to do, see and draw lines to what you need to accomplish, and then go for it. So the fact that you can do this in Ovation by grabbing people that will help you build your engine, but will also help you score points later on is super interesting. You want to be able to perform like small performances and then big orchestra performances, which I think are really neat. The symbols that you end up collecting and the other individuals that you end up bringing to your board will help you in accomplishing that, which just adds again to that ability to grow and extend your engine, which is a lot of fun.
And it's presented really well too, because it's on a piano and your resource trackers are across the different keys.
Yep. There are 3 types of resources that you're dealing with. Well, resources that you're dealing with, and they're different types of songs. So like it's
one is sorrow, I think
yes.
joy, if I remember correctly. If you remember,
red, blue, yellow, joy, sorrow, and then like some
maybe just
like,
passion.
It might be passion.
I don't remember the specific resources, but even having like the grid of the different cards that you could want, it leaves for really interesting experiences, and it gives that classic-esque of an engine building game that I feel like I haven't felt in a while.
Yeah, and then of course like there are things that you're racing towards as like public goals, and there are things that you are like keeping to yourself. The nice thing about that is like you can grab some of the things and then keep them to your score. But I like, because my favorite thing that I am now just remembering is that there are cards where you can score like 2 points for having like opera singing performances, but you also lose 1 point if you have a song with violins in it or something like that. String orchestras. So it's like very, very cool because you have to be able to like give and take. In that sense, I would say it's like point salad type goals brought into this type of game. Yeah.
It's really enjoyable. And that is Ovation. So next up we have Galactic Renaissance. So this is a successor to Inish. And I remember first playing this game and thinking that I wouldn't love it as much as I did. But then seeing the tight decision making and the back and forth with every other player, I fell in love with it. I think everything you're doing is just so affected by everybody else and when to take those various decisions against other players that it leaves for a very tight experience. And I'm so excited to get it back to the table.
Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. It's basically like space exploration. And you would think that it would clash with like this war type game, but it's actually like a council type game where you are trying to like have the most influence on certain planets. You'll get a bunch of bonuses if you do have the most influence on it. You'll score a lot of points. And then it does become this like grindy thing where you're trying to reach a certain number of points before anybody else does. And it just seems so neat the way that you progress through the game. It is almost... Well, it is. It is a deck builder in the sense where you're going to be recruiting different cards, but the way that you play those cards are very, very interesting. You're able to like play down cards that will give you extra turns, that will just like cascade your scoring, cascade your buildings, cascade X, Y, and Z, and it's just very interesting to have those decisions. Along with that, you've got like portals that you have to pay very close attention to, because the way that you travel can really impact what you're able to do next. I remember being stuck on certain planets, only being able to move certain places because of the portals that were on the specific planet, and I just like kind of got myself stuck. So it's fun, but also like one of those games where you're definitely going to be more involved and learning a lot more.
It's also a game that you'll want to play again and
Yes.
again to set that like almost meta for how everybody's playing.
True, yeah.
And then it gets even better because then it gets even more tense.
Mm-hmm,
So that's Galactic Renaissance. The next up we have, let's go to Japan.
Clap, clap, clap.
And this game I was just absolutely in awe with because what you're trying to do is you're planning your vacation. And it's all based on placing cards in various spots and scoring points based on the various positioning of those cards and what they currently entail. It's extremely clever. It's so much fun. And the whole aspect and the theme of the game is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I will first off say that I hope that they make different versions of this.
Yes.
Because I think it's very interesting to see, like, I guess it's kind of funny, ironic, however you want to put it, but like, when we play this game, we're like, oh yeah, like this is actually stuff we would do in Japan and or that we would want to include in our trip to Japan. So I think they've done a really good job at capturing these like very key moments of what some individuals would enjoy in going to Japan, and they've stuck them into this game. So you can actually feel like you're actually planning a trip to Japan.
Which is a ton of fun. And I think it's one of those games too that you can really show anybody. The rule set is pretty simple, but the complexity is really in the strategy and the amount of points that you're able to score. So you'll be playing it again and again, planning various different trips until eventually when you go.
Yeah, exactly. You'll want to go to Japan after this. Yeah. I will say that the fun thing about that that game that I just remembered is like the energy levels. I think that being able to balance, like some days you're gonna have to walk a lot. Other days you can get away with just chilling.
Well, you have to chill because you don't want to.
Yeah,
you don't want to get too exhausted.
And you don't want to like have a horrible experience on your week-long trip. So it's fun to like wrap around and see like these small pieces that they've added to this game that become very, very relatable. We've got 2 more games to cover.
Another one from Alderac is Undergrove. And this one we did a playthrough of. It is such a fun game. Because essentially you're planting mushrooms and you're trying to support the different tree trunks. And it's a very engine building-esque type of game. It's a very much everything is going to grow in such a strategic way because there's a shared board.
Yes.
So you are going to compete for various spaces trying to get first to certain places to score the very most points. I think it's incredibly well designed. It's so replayable. It's so much fun. And it's educational, which I love as well.
Yes. I did not know there was that many mushrooms out there. And it is very exciting to see them like kind of grow on the board. I quite enjoyed the like engine buildy feel to this game, being able to like use your resources, but like plan how you were going to have more turns, because you've got to be able to like use resources to use your turns. And once you run out, it's a pass. And that felt really good.
It did. Yeah, I'm really stoked because I think the version that we had only had kind of half the art.
Right.
It wasn't really finalized. So I'm really stoked to see the final version come to life. I do foresee this game getting a lot of plays and a lot of introductions to various game groups because it's also really friendly in that educational aspect as well.
Yeah, even though you are on a public board too, it doesn't feel too take-that-y either. You're never like blocking people from a lot of things. There's always an opportunity to do something else, so you don't have to worry so much about that. Even with the public board being in play.
That's true. And the last game on our list is Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yay.
The anthology series from Garfield Games has been just absolutely winning my heart because they're such different games. And this one really fit that. It was very different from the rest. It was so much fun to play.
Yes.
And we have not yet played it at a full player count, which I'm just dying to do.
Yeah. This is a crunchy game. Talk about a crunchy game, I guess, is what I can the best way I can say it. The fact that you have to play your cards on your board in only 3 of the slots, but you get 6 turns, it's just like deciding which one to cover up. Early on, it seems fine because you've got empty spaces. But the next thing you know, it's like, oh, I want to be able to take the blue action, but I have blue in all of these spaces, but I need to absolutely play a card. So it's like balancing that kind of act of figuring it out. And then the one thing I'll say is remembering to use those actions on those cards when you do play them can actually be very, very important to your gameplay.
Yeah, because they're optional.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's 3 different kind of paths that you'll go for. You'll use I think reputation or like flags essentially to take actions in all of those 3 different spaces. But how you do it, like you're going to build up the wall, you're going to work on the main area, the pyramid area. I forget what it's specifically called. And just really cleverly use your resources. I feel like when playing this game, even though it was really complex, it felt one of the most like fluid, flowing, because everything you would do would have a natural progression on kind of the next steps, and it made sense of what I needed to do in each of my turns, and there wasn't a lot of like, what could I do?
Yeah, and then like of course like you are going for like game end goals too, so like, or I guess round end goals too, so you can kind of plan for it, work towards it, and then create a space where you are trying to continue to grow in those spaces, and I think that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different ways and paths forward that you can go with it, and that's why I think this game is part of this list. It's very exciting to see it grow, and then also we want to just play more of it.
Now, we absolutely adore these games, and we hope that you will have the opportunity to play them soon. Now, if you have any questions, we'll link all the relevant videos that we've done, because I think we've covered almost all of these games. And if we haven't, ask us any questions. We're happy to give you any more insight to help you make an educated decision of if this game is for you.
Exactly.
Now, for our question of the day.
What kind of games are you looking forward to in 2024? Is there a specific one that you have on your radar? Let us know down in the comments below, because we'd love to hear what those are.
Do you think there's an era coming for a certain type of games? Is it a two-player era? Or Roll and Wright's making a re-entry? What's going to happen? What are your predictions for 2024?
There you go. Well, until next time, though, we really appreciate you being here. If you liked this video, give us that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We make weekly board game content like this. And we're happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.